Today marks 1278 days share lessons I learned and continue to learn with all of you. I hope these lessons will inspire you, support your dreams, help achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you're going to become. Today speak about supply and demand. I understand this is a very economical term, a definition of really buying and selling. At the same time, probably the easy example is like we have a phone, and there could be a demand of that phone, and there could be supply. That means how much companies are able to supply for that demand. And that means that when there's a massive demand and there's a limited supply, that means that the value or the price of this item will increase significantly. I think that's exactly happens in our life as well, and that's why so many people who are were wealthy, and some people are just not wealthy at all and don't have any money whatsoever. And I think that they just don't understand the part that there's a demand and supply in life as well. How to position yourself that you could be more in demand or maybe less in supply, just to make sure that you're becoming more valuable regarding the finances. But I think that not just finances, I think that there's a lot of things that we're able to really look at that we become more valuable in relationships and other aspects of our lives. Because when we actually able to look at you, how the things that I do is actually demanded and how much supply of it is. And that's why sometimes people say, oh, you're supposed to get something. No, like it's how much there are actual demand and supply of that one thing. That is very, very important. And today we'll share exactly what I think about what we're supposed to consider about demand and supply in our personal life that we could really become more valuable. So number one, I think that we need to understand that there's such a thing as skills and opportunities. Like the opportunities and demand and skills are supply. So it means when we look into our skills, develop the skills, we're able to ask, okay, how many people have this skill set? So that means if a lot of people have the skill set, what it means? It means that there's a massive supply. But if there's a massive supply, what happens? It means that the value and the price that people get for it is lower. And of course, we're able to look into demand. Maybe there's a really high demand, but there's a massive supply, and still the value of that skill will be low. Because if we what are we supposed to prove? We want to really decent demand and very, very limited supply. And if there's a very, very limited supply, we will be valued very significantly regarding the finances. We're able to get more money. That's why when we think about skill sets, what kind of skill sets could I bring together? What kind of skills could I develop that I could really make more money? That I could be more wealthy? And it's very, very important to understand that. So really being able to research what is the demand of this skill set, what's the demand of this thing that I want to develop, and what is the supply of it. When you understand those, of course, then you're able to say, "I will work very hard to develop that they could become more valuable." So, second thing that I want to mention is relationships. Relationships is exactly the same thing. I think that sometimes we want to give love, we want to give everything to that other person. But if that person doesn't have that demand of all the things that you want to give, so that means the more you give, the more you supply things. That means that that becomes less valuable, and we are not valued the way how we're supposed to value. So that means that we always need to ask, okay, how much this person actually demands of the things that I want. Because if they do not demand, we over deliver, over supply, and that is not good for a relationship. I think that's really need to understand, okay, what is the demand and supply in a relation as well. Because it might be that a person demands a lot, but you do not supply. And of course, every single time you give, it's so much value gets other person, and of course that's not sustainable. So being able to really meet, and that's why a lot of times I think that some relations doesn't work because one person wants has massive demand, another person is not able to deliver that demand, not able to supply all the things that they want. Maybe they want encouragement, maybe they want support, maybe they want somebody else. Like there's those five love languages. So she or he has demand on a specific love, but this person is not able to supply that. And because of that, of course, at some point that will break because supply and demand always need to be in sync. That's very important when you think about why this relation doesn't work. And I think that the majority of the time is that there is supply and demand issue going on. And one person wants communication, demand, other person is not able to provide that supply of communication. And of course, that everything breaks out. Number three that I want to mention is self-worth. I think that's very, very important to understand that you be able to respect ourselves. The more we respect ourselves, we say less yes to. Because the more we say yes, a lot of times that yes is in high supply, and it means the value of that yes becomes less. So being able to really say that yes only to the things that really aligns, and again, this is coming a lot of times from self-respect. The more self-respect you have, the more higher signs you have, the higher the boundaries you have. That means that when people demand things, you're able to say to these only things and really limit your supply. Because I think that when we say to everything because we want to people please, and again, it's coming from our insecurities, of course, at that moment we potentially could lose the value and saying a lot of times no for the good reason, not for the bad reason. Saying good for the reason that maybe it says it doesn't align with what I'm looking for. It does not align what is my vision. At that moment, you become more valuable not just because you're pursuing your vision, but because you are more limited. Because limited things increases in value. And I think there's so many different things when we think about supply and demand. Especially, I think that the other side, there's a lot of things that is very, very limited. For example, energy is limited, but demand is massive for that energy. Distractions, people, everything. So being able to understand that how important it is to manage that supply, because demand is unlimited supply. Exactly the same with time. It's limited time, but distractions, all the things that we potentially could use that time is massive. And that's why you need to balance those demands. You want to move a lot of demands out of life, because if we do not manage, because we're not able to manage our increase our time, we're not able to increase some of this energy. We're able to influence that, but we're not able to increase a lot of things. So, but what we're able to do, we're able to control demand. So, it's removing all those distractions, removing all the things that is not serving us, and then of course, supply and demand will meet in the highest possible way. Because I think that when we start using our energy, our money, our time, half to one thing, half to other thing, and we never achieve really true success because we do not manage supply and demand. Because it's one thing is underserved or underdelivered, and of course we're not getting results. So I hope that you will reflect as well. What are the things that you think are valuable that you potentially could develop to become more valuable? The thing is like even a brand. I think this brand is very important because when you think about what kind of character traits are rare, what kind of character traits are uncommon, and of course, when you are the kind, courageous, confident, generous, and when you look into loyal, and when you look into that kind of person who really inspires and makes other people around them better, because there is not a lot of those kind of people, you become so much more valuable. So that means that we're able to ask, like, what kind of amazing person could it become to become more valuable? People who is not common. And I think that's very, very important to really build a brand of that person that become more in demand and rarer in supply. And as I said, there are so many different things in our lives that could be looked at from the demand and supply. And I think that when we're able to really start implementing that mindset, what is missing, why this thing that is not working is over delivered, under delivered, there is demand, there is supply, and when you're able to fix one side of the equation, I think that that's a lot of things will be better because of that. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.